It's already been a morning, okay? It's already been a morning. My earring keeps falling out. My hair, let's not address it. Also, my cat bitch keeps chasing my toes. I have missed having an animal in my house so much, but I have not missed kittenhood. Jesus Christ, she's nuts, crazy. It's just a lot managing a toddler and a kitten and trying to make sure that the kitten doesn't hurt the toddler and the toddler doesn't hurt the kitten. I want to talk about all the recent romances I have read and kind of just give you guys the lowdown, like the 411 bitch. I've been jumping all over the place recently with reading. I cannot decipher what mood I'm in. And that is one of the most frustrating feelings to have as a reader. One minute I think I'm down for a cutesy romance, and then I try and read a cutesy romance and it doesn't fulfill me. And then I'm like, okay, let's stay in the dark romance genre, dark romance lane, and I read something pretty dark and I'm like, okay, that's not tickling my dick either. And I just don't know what I want. I just don't know what I want. And this happens every time a hyperfixation ends. So recently it was the motorcycle club. Okay, I was reading all these romances to do with MC clubs. Once we hit like the 15th book, and I've been reading it back to back for almost 2 weeks, okay, it's time to call it quits. But every time this happens to me and a hyperfixation ends on a certain trope, I get into this like funk when it comes to reading, and it's like I can't decipher what my mood is until the next hyperfixation is triggered. So complicated, I know. It's like, bitch, just pick up a fucking book and read it. But I cannot be like that, because if I'm reading a book and it's not the right time to read this book, the entire time I tell myself I could be reading something else that I enjoy more. I do have a video, I don't know if it's up already or if it will go up after this one, of a list of books I want to read that are really interesting, really different, and quite dark. I am really umming and ahhing if I want to dive into that list. I have read one of those books from that list that we'll talk about today. But first off, let's just start the video, girly pops. The first book we need to talk about, Conditions of Will. Yes, the fuck we do. Oh my god, bitch, I devoured this novel. I devoured it within like less than 48 hours. And she's pretty big, bitch. She's not like a tiny book. I recently hauled this. If you haven't watched that video, I'll leave the link at the end of this one so you can go and watch it if you're in the mood to watch more of me and you want to hear more of my thoughts on this story. But this cover is my favorite cover I've ever come across in my life. I'm obsessed with it. It is so beautiful and so unique. We've got Georgia. She comes from a very conservative family in South Carolina. She's currently living in London, and she hasn't seen her family or spoken to many of her family members in a long time. She's like the black sheep, and we get this kind of inkling when we first start the book that she's got secrets and something has transpired in her past with her family that made her leave in the first place. So as we meet Georgia, she gets notified that her father has passed away and she needs to go back home for the funeral and also for the will, because her family is quite wealthy. Her and one of her brothers have a really beautiful bond. He too is considered the black sheep of the family because he's gay, and because her family are super religious and conservative from South Carolina, they have some issues with that and they're not as accepting as what they fucking should be. He also has a addiction issue. So when she arrives to her family home to see her family for the first time in a long time, she meets Sam, thinking Sam is her brother's boyfriend, but he's actually his AA sponsor. Georgia and Sam connect straight away, and you kind of follow what she's going through, what she's healing from, what she's discovering about her family. You're experiencing all the dynamics of all these siblings, her relationship with their mother, what her relationship with their deceased father was, and while all this is happening, Sam is kind of standing on the sideline looking at his family like, what the actual fuck? This is fucked. And he's falling for Georgia and she's falling for him. I loved this just so much, guys. I cannot stress it enough. But I loved how Jessa, obviously, I can tell that she kind of reflected her own beliefs when it came to the Bible, to Christianity, through Georgia as a character. And I thought it was so fucking beautiful and well written, honestly. Because if I was to be a Christian, I'd probably believe everything that Georgia was saying. And I kind of do in general, just with life and people and how to treat people and stuff like that. So this is heavily religious. but not in like a Bible thumper way, okay? We're just kind of learning about this fucking family, and like the shit that they do to one another is just insane. And it also dives deep on homophobia. So if you have any triggers with that, we really see what George's brother goes through unfiltered, and it's very unsettling. Lots of trigger warnings for this. I want to talk about trigger warnings for a minute. Now, I know a lot of people want trigger warnings, and I understand why they do. But movies don't even have many trigger warnings to the extent that romance readers and consumers want from romances. I really don't understand it. I don't, because you should know before going into an author's story, certain author's stories, certain subgenres, what you're going to kind of be reading and what you're going to get. Like, you know with Jessa Hastings that she is going to explore all sorts of human experiences and topics that can be connected to all sorts of things to do with your emotions, trauma bonding, trauma in general, addiction, cheating, like all these types of things that people want trigger warnings for. Jessa is always going to write. So if you don't like those things, she's not the author for you. Like, not every book needs a detailed list of trigger warnings. We don't get it with every other type of content, so why should we do it with romance books? Like, I understand if it's like warning graphic content, warning blah blah blah, but like, to list every micro warning is insane to me, and I just feel like, why is that? Even when like you're trauma dumping with another human, it's not like the other human says, hey, warning, I'm about to talk about all the things that have happened to me. If these things unsettle you, let's end this conversation now. Like, it's just not a realistic thing. So I don't understand why we need to, have these like deep, descriptive trigger warnings. Anyway, there's lots of things in here, lots and lots of things, but I feel like I didn't know anything about it, really, besides the blurb, and I enjoyed it so much more because it is just so much more than a romance, and most of Jessa's books are. But I fucking love The Condition of Will. I really do. I really, really love it. Just her metaphors and the way she writes. I said it previously in my recent book haul, Unique, Not Blueprint. Read this, please. I fucking love it, dude. I will say it's not smutty. It's like fade to black type of scenes Jessa writes, and I've noticed that she does write scenes like that. I don't know if that was the case in Never, because I never finished Never, but it doesn't bother me because I'm not there for the smut, man. I'm there for like the swoony moments between the characters and the fucking heartache that Jessa Hastings uproots in every single fucking story that I have read from her. I'm just like, oh, bitch, right in the heart, right in the fucking ribcage every time. These next two books were from when I was still reading MC romances. So I probably should have spoken about these first because I read Conditions of Will after I read these two books. But the first one is Nyx. I've had this series, I own it. It was sent to me by the author. I've had this series on my TBR for fucking years. Like, I own all the books, they're in the cupboard, and I didn't even think about reading this when I was in my MC club mood. And I'm so fucking annoyed that I chose to read it at the end of the burnout because I get burnt out on the hyperfixations, and I didn't enjoy it as much as I think I would have if I read it earlier on in the hyperfixation. But in saying that, if I ever do have the same hyperfixation with the MC Club trope again, I will go straight to this series and read the rest because I really love the writing style. I love this author in general, but I love the writing style, the world, the characters, how the club is set up, what's going on. I really did enjoy it, but it just didn't tickle my dick because I was getting bored with the trope. So we have this girl, her father is a part of an MC club. She has nothing to do with him, not really. She has two older brothers as well, and they are still in contact with their father. Their mother dies, and they're kind of left on their own, and they're like, fuck, we're gonna go and link back up with dad. So they end up going to the club one night. They end up driving like across the state or something ridiculous because they don't even live near them anymore. And her brothers want to become members and she needs somewhere to live and something to do. So she offers to work for the club. When she rocks up to the club that night, she sees the enforcer who she once knew in the past, but she was like a kid and he was a lot younger. And now when she sees him, she's like, oh my God, he's all grown up. He's a fucking man now and he's smoking hot. And there's major chemistry between the two of them. And that is where the story begins. Again, not my favorite. Will I return to the series? Absolutely. I just chose the wrong fucking time to read this and I'm so annoyed that I even forgot that this existed. It wasn't until I was going through, because I have books in the cupboard, going through my bookshelf in the cupboard that I was like, oh my god, like why didn't I not think of this? Like why did I not think of this? This was a suggestion from you guys for the MC trope and it is Rough and Rowdy. This is book 1 in the Notorious Devil's MC by Hayley Feynman. I have not read anything from Hayley in years. I remember reading one of her like Russian mafia series back in the day, back in like early 2020, and I really liked it. This was not good. I don't know what this was. I remember the comment from one of you guys saying, hey, if you can put up with this, try this. And I didn't really get what the comment meant until I started reading it, and it's just insane. It's very insta-lusty. There's a one-night stand. She gets knocked up. She confronts the MC dude that she's banged and tells him that she's pregnant, and he just starts treating her like shit. And I don't know, it was just really weird. It was just like really fast paced. Couldn't really grab onto the chemistry because things were moving so fast and the moods of the characters were flipping and their opinions on each other were flipping so much that I was just like, what the fuck? And again, I read this at the end of the hyperfixation, so I think that's why I was like, oh, I'm over this. I'd already read stories kind of similar with that type of dynamic and liked them better. So yeah, this was not a good book in my opinion. I didn't love it and I don't think I will return to this series. I read The Wild Man. I recently spoke about this in my TBR video and it was really good. Don't get me wrong, but it was just not what I was looking for at the time. I went into this thinking that it was going to be a lot more darker than what it actually is. Now, don't get me wrong, it is dark in a sense, but I was just looking for something a little bit more intense. It's about this girl who has this like semi-obsession with this wild man, okay? He lives literally in the fucking wild, bitch. Yeah, he does. He is an animal. She's got this fascination with him. She's been studying him. She's been like learning everything she can, reading all the news articles about him, all this stuff. So she ends up going on a solo camping trip to find him. And she finds him and she's like taking photos of him and she's like, oh my god. And right at the bat, she starts explaining like how attractive he is, what he looks like. It's very sexual driven. He notices her. So he takes her back to where he lives in the wild and feeds her. And then he's onto her, bitch. So this has a lot of like non-con in it for sure, bitch. It's very much about power dynamics sexually, and her desire for him, his desire for her, and he's obviously been living in the wild for so long, so he has like an animalistic approach to being in a relationship with her. He's like, this is my female, this is my mate, bitch. I'm gonna piss where she pisses to mark my territory type of thing. That actually happens in the fucking book. Yeah, the fuck it does. When that happened, I was like, this is disgusting. No fucking way is this motherfucker literally pissing on her piss in the wild to mark his territory. With that said, the sex was in fucking insane because he had never been with anyone before, and he like let's keep in mind that he's literally like an animal. So his animalistic sexual desires are like insane with her. He's like exploring this with her when she doesn't want him to, and she's kind of getting into it even though she doesn't want to be into it, and it's very smutty. It's just very, very smutty. The smut was so well written, but it just wasn't what I wanted at the time. It does give off the same type of vibes as Transcendence by Shay Savage, I think her name is, which is a caveman romance. So I wasn't shocked by the story because I have read something similar before. And yeah, so it was an all-around good read. Like, it wasn't anything incredible. It wasn't like, wow, this is amazing. But I did enjoy my experience with it. But yeah, just be mindful that this motherfucker lives in the wild and he literally pisses on top of her piss. Like, she's taking a piss in the bush And then he comes, he's watching her, and then he just whips it out and pisses right on where she's pissing to mark his territory. I cannot get over it. It gave me the biggest fucking ick ever. Like, ever. Oh my God, guys. Oh my God. This next duet, I read this past week. This has been on my TBR for such a long time, like since 2019, 2020. And this is the OG kind of serial killer romance on the market. Like, no one can compare to this, especially, like, I knew that before going into the story, but now that I've read it, I'm like, any other serial killer romances that come now, I'm like, nothing on this. Born Darkly, which is the first book, and Born Madly, which is the second book in the duet. God damn, bitch. God, this was brilliant. Like, this was written so fucking well. I've never read anything from Trisha before. I did own this in the paperback, but I think I sold it. I don't know why. I don't have it anymore. I was captivated by this story within the first fucking page. One, the writing style was beautiful. No filler words whatsoever. It felt very elevated and mature. Like, this is an established author that knows what she's fucking doing. Like, her writing was so beautiful. But just the characters in general, I was like, oh my God. So we've got this psychologist who defends convicted murderers in court when they're like appealing their sentence. She ends up working with these prisoners, these felons, bitch, convicted murderers and all types of people to obviously give the court an accurate medical diagnosis on these clients of hers. That in itself, I was like, bitch, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean you're sitting down and you're dissecting their fucking brains? Like, what? Right? Instantly, I was like, oh yeah, this is good. This is good. Very psychological. I love psychology in general. So this book really fucking digs into it, bitch. It gives you all of it. And I loved it so much. And she ends up getting this client who is this famous fucking serial killer. Like, everyone knows about him. He's meant to be the most twisted motherfucker ever. It gives off like Saw, the movie vibes. He tortures and kills these people who have done really bad things, which I think is so fucking conflicting in itself, because I'm like, well, you are just as bad as these motherfuckers, but also those people deserved it a little bit. That's how you feel when you're reading this story. His conviction is the death penalty, and they're trying to appeal it, obviously. So she's got to get into his fucking brain and see if she can get him out of the death penalty. So he comes into her office one day. He's shackled, bitch, in her office. And that's where it begins. She's fascinated by him because she's also a little bit questionable. There's things about her that I'm like, hang on a minute. And he is a master manipulator. When I say that the chemistry was off the charts, like, oh my God, while reading them, I was just like, wow, like there's so much going on. So well fucking written. I won't say anything more because I don't want to give away the story, but the ending of the first novel, bitch. And I was gagged. When the twist happened, I was just like, what? Like, I could not believe it because, yeah, she didn't see what was coming and he, oh my God. So there are the books I have recently read and my thoughts and opinions, my reviews on all these books. If you've read any of them, let me know in the comments below your thoughts, feelings, and emotions with no spoilers though. I feel like I am going to dabble into a series by Abby Glines, which is kind of like mafia cross cowboy. I will come back to you about that because I've never read something like that. And also, I'm not really huge on the cowboy thing. Like, I'm Australian. I'm not American, bitch. I'm not yee-hawing. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, country music's big here, but it's just not the same. Like, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. I'll let you guys know. The book's called Slay. That's what I'm reading right now. I started it last night, and so far I really love it. I'll let you guys know. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Subscribe, thumbs up, all that jazz. And I'll see you when I'm looking at you next.